Memphis, 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 Memphis. Nothing but Memphis. Everywhere we go, it's Memphis. Memphis, Tennessee, the beautiful land in the world.
And I'm thankful for this guy who tweeted and said I don't have that fire in my eye no more. That game right there was for him. That's what I do. I prove people wrong each and every night, and that's for him right there.
Hi, this is Tom Izzo at Michigan State, and you're listening to Grizz 901.
Yo, what up, Grizz Nation, and welcome back to Grizz 901, the live post-game show for your Memphis Grizzlies. Tonight we're coming off of another loss, back-to-back losses again. Team looks a little sick, a little under the weather. Third game in 4 days, and with a back-to-back against two teams who are pretty dominant in the season. They have both looked very good in Denver and then the Clippers. And so nothing to write home about, honestly, with these two games. They've sucked. It's been late. That's really been the main thing that sucked about all of this. But we're going to get into the show overall. But I am your host, Daniel Greer. Nate is still with me. He's making a nice beverage tonight, so stay tuned for that. But overall, we are happy to be here. It is late, so we're not going to keep you as long as normal. But as long as this show goes, as long as you're in the comments, we're going to make sure that we are here trying to make you laugh just a little bit, but talking you off the edge. We're not having to do that as much as we had been doing that, especially early in the season. But it's all about the game recap. It's going to be a little bit short and sweet tonight, nothing too in-depth. And then the middle area, I have a very fun Grizzlies trivia question. 0 people, I believe, will get this. Shout out to Ryan Meadows for giving me the info. I asked him a late Hail Mary to see if he had anything good, and he came through for me. Last thing we're going to do is preview the Kings game on New Year's Eve. So you know what we do. Sit back, relax, and let's hang out. All right, Nate, what we drinking tonight? We got the Cool Whip, Ready Whip going.
It's one of those, baby. Need a little pick-me-up. Also, just straight up need some caffeine, to be honest. So.
No, I feel you. All right, so tonight's game, obviously, the Grizz lost 117 to 106. That sucked in itself, but they fought hard, and it looks like this team is still under the weather. Ja doesn't look like himself, clearly. It looked like Jaren was a little, I don't know, just weird very, very early on. And then after that.
Well, he should have shot 15 free throws tonight and shot 2. So
that's the issue, too, is it looked like the foul differential was not in our favor for sure.
Well,
I haven't looked at it.
I got a little bit of a news flash. Bill Kennedy's an ass ref and has been for a while. Like your cute little explanations on your replay reviews don't fool me. Listen, I have said it on that show multiple times. It's not just tonight. Like, I'm not a Bill Kennedy fan. Never have been, never will be. So, yeah. Despite the Oscar-worthy, Emmy-worthy, I don't know what those awards go to. Whatever. Review speeches. It's terrible.
All right. As I said in the comments, one, if you're here, thank you. Listen, this is a late game. This won't be as long of a show unless, honestly, it just turns out to be similar to last night's. We expected, well, let's just say it. Nate expected it to be a shorter show, but in the end, it was a really fun episode as we got going throughout it. We're not going to cover this game recap just in depth because, what are we going to talk about? Honestly, this team is ravaged by, flu-like symptoms, right? They're going through it a little bit. But overall, they haven't been playing well. Now 2 on the road, right? Well, 3 on the road, but now the last 2 against really good teams. And so we're going to get into a lot of these. Let's get into some of these comments I see from this. 4 rebounds from our starting front court. Can't happen, right? Biz didn't play in the second half, so I don't want to give too much. He didn't play at all in the second half, right?
He had 8 total minutes, so I don't think so.
No, he didn't play in the second half. So I get a little bit, but mainly that's Jaren, right? And then the other guy on the other side, 20 rebounds for Zubac. I had a double-double. It was plus 150. It was easy money. Thank you. I appreciate that. I should have doubled up on his rebounds, though.
Yep.
Let's get to this other one from John 17. Jaren's paint defense has been bad. And, he sees the driver come, but he's not able to stop them because he's going for the block every time. And I get that.
Oh.
But I honestly, I see what he's trying to do, but he's still playing too low, as we've always talked about, handing the cookie jar way too low on defense.
Well, yeah, he has that issue, but tonight I didn't have that issue with him, to be honest. Like,
Dude, they got what they wanted.
There's a difference between what Brook Lopez and Zubac are doing and what Jaren's doing. Like, against the Grizz and what you see with like Brook Lopez, just because of the way that their teams are built, they're just sitting at the paint.
Right.
Jaren's never just sitting at the paint. Like, he is coming off of another guy, and quite frankly, he's having to guard like 3 other guys in the paint. Like, at the end of the day, like, he is going and making good contests at the beginning of the game, but then there's nobody to go and cover up whoever he was guarding that's cutting to the basket. Like, the team defense just isn't good. So, listen, Jaren does what he does really well, but he doesn't have around him what he needs to be able to do it really well. Like, I'm just so far from out on Jaren and so more out on some of the lineup decisions and stuff. Like, at the end of the day, like, everybody on God's green grass, on God's green earth, knew that Biz shouldn't start tonight. You said it. I said it. I know all of Grizz Twitter said it because they're just fed up, both everything pretty much at this point. But he starts tonight, and then sure enough, you go away from him. But it's like, why do you have to see it goes terribly wrong before you decide you're going to change it? Right? And, you know, I said this earlier, and he finally got to the lineup with 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter. But for some reason, we didn't see that lineup of Ja, Dez, Jaren, Smart, and Vince until there's 4 minutes left in the fourth. And listen, maybe Jenkins saw something I didn't, because Vince didn't do very well when they got to that lineup. I'll say that.
Yeah, Vince had a bad night.
But at the same time, I'm like, man, like, that is your best defensive lineup. And instead of that, like, speaking of this comment, you sub Ja in for Smart, and you roll that lineup plus Roddy and take Smart out, and then the Clippers go on a run in the second quarter.
Yeah.
It's just little things like that I just can't get behind. You know, you roll out a lineup twice that just got cooked with Santi, and I can't remember the exact lineup, but shout out to our guy Funaki Stats. I was actually using his site that he gave me to keep track of some of the minutes tonight, and you know, it's just not good. But as far as Jaren goes, like, listen, I don't know if it was on the offensive end, the dude should have shot 12, 15 free throws tonight.
Yeah,
I don't know what else you want to do. Like, if he gets hacked and doesn't get the call, like, write a letter to Bill Kennedy. That's all I got for you. But the thing is, nobody plays good man-to-man defense except for that lineup. When the Grizzlies went on that run, it was that lineup minus Ja. So they had all that plus Roddy, and defensively they just swarmed them. Like, guys actually played good man-to-man defense, and Jaren didn't have to cover up 3 other things. So, like, the only way that, like, this comment makes sense is if you're saying, hey, Jaren's not an elite rebounder and he's not an elite, like, bruiser big. Yeah, we have known this.
Yeah.
What he is he's a great free safety, cleans up everything else around you, but he needs another big next to him. They don't have a center. They don't. Jaren's not a center. He can't play center. You can argue maybe he should, because he's 7 foot a million, strong dude, big dude. He can't.
Right.
But what he does, he's elite at, but you got to have a center next to him, and you don't. And to, like, our guy Chris's credit, you bring a guy like Andre Drummond in, that helps that. It does.
Yeah.
But right now, I mean, X, for all he does well, he can't do it. Biz is just, I mean, he's doing his darndest, and I appreciate it, but his darndest ain't close to good enough. So, and then we'll get into the offense part later. But as far as defense goes, man, Jaren can only cover up so much.
Yeah, and I want to hit on this, BJ Berryhill, real quick. Bro, I get that you're saying the woes of the defense are on Jenkins at this point. Honestly, I don't get the infatuation from, it's infatuation. Sorry, not factuation. Infatuation. The love of hating and shitting on Taylor Jenkins. I'm just going to be honest. It's laughable at this point how dumb our fan base is. And BJ, I am not coming at you directly. I'm just saying our fan base, I don't know if we are just getting dumber by the day, but let's just be honest. These dudes are adults. They have all played defense a certain way. What the coaching staff is doing outside of maybe a scheme of staying away from guarding one guy, like I know Jenkins likes to do, and we do get burned sometimes because of it.
Sometimes.
All right, we do get burned a lot because of it.
Come on.
but honestly, it's a top 10 defense right now. And it has been, even with the injuries that it's been. I get it. I'm not saying I'm protecting Taylor Jenkins, or as Kenny wants to say, I'm carrying his water. I'm saying sometimes these dudes just don't play with energy and effort. That's what I'm saying. And I think that's what it all comes down to. Like honestly, James Harden was cooking everybody that guarded him tonight. And they got to the front of the rim whenever they wanted to. That's not about any scheme or a coach. The coach doesn't have as much to do with the game than you actually really think. I know. It's a spoiler. Sorry to kind of let you know the very end of the story, but that's just the truth. The coaches don't have that much credit. Don't give them that much credit. They don't deserve it.
I am going to say the Grizzlies aren't winning because of Taylor Jenkins when they're winning.
No, but they're not losing because of him.
Well, I just don't think the defense is the issue. I know they gave up all those points to Denver the other night, but that team quit. That the Grizzlies were done with that game.
Third game in 4 nights.
Yeah.
Back to back.
I just don't think the defense is the problem. It's the offense. And listen, at the end of the day, the Grizzlies, even without the Jaren foul shots, which again, if everyone here wants to write a letter to Bill Kennedy tonight, I am all on board with that. Go for it, because Jaren should have shot at least 10 more free throws than he did tonight. The Grizzlies also smoked like 5 layups.
So many layups.
And if you don't smoke 5 layups, you might have the lead at the end of that fourth quarter. Like, sometimes it really is that simple. So, last night's game, I didn't mind because I was like, this is just one of those games where no matter what happened on that night, you didn't have it and the other team had everything.
Right.
Like, that's just one of those games. Tonight, I'm like, if you don't smoke 5 layups, you're probably good to go.
Yeah.
Like, you might win that game. But you do smoke 5 layups. And, you got guys who still just can't contribute. And part of it is you just still don't have bodies. So, I saw somebody earlier, I can't remember who it was, saying, you just need to put a body on Zubac. I'm like, Who are you going to put on Zubac? The only one you could possibly put on is Jaren. He's not the guy that puts a body on somebody. It's not what he does. He still doesn't know how to do that. Yeah. Right. But if you want to criticize Taylor Jenkins, I think there's a million reasons that are all good reasons to criticize Taylor Jenkins. But tonight's just one of those nights I'm like, I don't get it. You want to say I see we got Jack Move Johnny, which is an awesome name.
Yes, I agree.
We always got to represent the names that come in here that are good names. Yeah, so Jack Move Johnny, fantastic name. But you want to say he takes too long to make adjustments? Agreed. Chris, you want to say that we have more fluid offense? Agreed.
Right.
I think there's a lot of reasons to criticize Taylor Jenkins. I just am not all caught up in I just, like you said, the sort of fascination with, hey, we're going to absolutely just piss on them every night. The Grizzlies win in spite of Taylor Jenkins. I will give you that. I'll say that. I just don't I don't know who you're going to bring in that's that much better right now.
Nobody.
I don't understand the obsession with it.
And this comment, BJ, I'm picking on you. I like you very much, but I'm picking on you tonight. Who subs Z in?
Hey, to his credit, he didn't sub him back in tonight.
Bro,
I gave him a toast
minutes. 6. He then went away from Biz. He started him to see if we can use that bigger body. I get the thinking. Okay, I would have went probably with X overall, right? X sucked too. Okay, I don't know what you want him to do, but either way, no matter which decision he would have made, both would have been bad. Just being honest, they both have sucked, especially tonight. Zaire wasn't good either. He played him 6 minutes. So I just want to look at this from honesty. I'm looking at it as a true person who thinks Taylor sucks in a lot of areas. I think he's really good in a lot of areas. I think he's a head coach and that job sucks. I would hate to do it. I would hate to be a player today because people shit on you for no reason, honestly. And so I think the difference is, and you want to go back to the Chris's comment about the fluid offense. The difference is they're playing with vets. They're playing with James Harden. Okay. He can get to whatever he wants to. He can do whatever he wants to. Even though he might be wider in the hips, he can still get by you. Like, it's just the truth. And then the other thing, Paul George does something that nobody on our team does. Maybe David Roddy. And that is get to a 2-point shot that you can get to your spot. You feel comfortable making it. Paul George tonight, walk-up threes, a given. I get those. But when you have a guy on you, a little wiggle here and there, up in his face, over top of you, he's draining your eye every time. That's what vets do. That's what the all-stars do. They're just a really good team when they're on.
Also, they have guys that hit shots. It's one of those things where, again, I think every criticism I've seen going through is valid. I just think it's some people just want to talk about it every night.
It's the group.
And I just don't like. I'm like, tonight's one of those nights where if you make your layups, you could win that game, right? It's just one of those nights where I'm just like, okay, yeah, Taylor's adjustments took too long. He still makes lineup decisions I don't understand. The offense in the half court doesn't look good. They still could have won that game if they just make layups. It's just not the reason tonight. So it's not that I think any of these criticisms aren't valid. I'm just not
tired of them
here getting into it tonight. Yeah, it's one of those things. Like, if you want to say, like Chris, his comment here, I thought this during the game. We got freaking John Morant, Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson. How are we not creating better offense? Sure. Yes, 100% agreed. Also, don't smoke your layups. You win the game. Also, Bill Kennedy isn't an absolute ass ref. And Jaren gets free throws. You might win that game, right? Like, there's 100 different ways to win that game, and none of them went together. Taylor's coaching could be one of those reasons. If he had an expert coaching night, sure, maybe they win that game. At the same time, there's a lot of different things the players could have done to win the game too, right?
For sure. No, I agree. Listen, a few things from the comments that I'm seeing. One, we have LOL Nope Jones back. Listen, always an OG. Goon the Shooter is back. We did have an issue early on that we thought that John the 17 or John 17 could have been Goon in disguise because he was absolutely John 17 was just mauling on Jaren. And so we could have had an issue, but then we find that we see Goon the Shooter does come out and he thinks that Jaren is trash as always. So I got to give you some props, Goon. Welcome back. But I do want to say, I want to talk about our big three. Okay. Everybody wants to talk about the coaching staff. I got that. I got that on my chest. It just gets annoying, honestly. But let's talk about the big three. And this is what I don't love. And I want to ask you your opinion. I don't think that the Clippers, and honestly, I want Chris to respond in the chat as well. Not that I don't trust any of you others. I know Chris personally. So I want to ask him because I think he would give me his opinion. And since I know where he's thinking most of the time, I like that. I want to ask your opinion, Nate.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at across the way tonight to the Clippers, we talk about their offense look more fluid. Okay, I get all that.
Mm-hmm.
Is it because they have vets that just know how to get to their spot in general, or do they run a style of offense? Because if you look at our side, I never know if we're just freelancing it, which most NBA players do, most NBA teams do. It's just a freelance, right? It's a pick and roll, screen and roll, pick and pop. You want to obviously, move the ball around, whatever. My issue with the Grizzlies offense has always been there's no identity to it. And I know that kind of coincides a little bit of what Chris said, but there's no identity to the offense. Like, I don't know what Jaren should be doing because I don't know exactly what they're thinking. And I don't know the reason of what they're thinking. So but also I don't look at the Clippers and say, I know what their offense is doing either. So I'm just asking you, do you see that on the Clippers side and you don't see it on us? Or is it just players?
No, yeah, exactly. There's no identity. Like the Grizzlies don't have anything that they just go to,
except for
right?
Ja.
Except for Ja.
Right.
And to their credit, that usually works, right?
It does.
But Ja, and I know I saw some comments. Somebody was pissed off at Ja tonight. Dude, he's sick. He's got the flu. I gotta, and listen, I know the Michael Jordan flu game is out there as a thing of legend, but dog, he's not right. And when somebody's not right, it is what it is, right? I don't know. What was it, 4th game in 5 nights tonight? Is that what it was tonight?
I want to say they played Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and when they played before that.
I don't know. Either way, I'm just like, he didn't look right, so it didn't quite work. At the same time, the thing that happens to all these other teams, who was it that started knocking down shows? Kobe Brown knocked down a shot early. Norm Powell stays being a threat. Russell Westbrook hit 2 threes tonight. Amir Coffey went 3 for 4 from 3 tonight. Like, their role players contribute.
Mm-hmm.
For the Grizzlies, Santi did well tonight. Thought he played really well, actually. Defensively, he got cooked, but that's a Santi experience.
Everybody got cooked.
And then outside of that, like your role guys, Smart is the only one who did anything for you tonight.
All right. Real quick. I don't mean to stop you. This is exactly what I want to know. I want to compare the two. Okay. Let's say we change the names on here. Wherever James Harden plays in the offense is the same. So dribble for 15 seconds, pick and roll, backdoor pass, a swing, right? It's just the same style of offense. Let's change it real quick. Wherever Ja Morant plays, the offense is the same. Dribble for 15 seconds.
It's the next comment.
Backdoor pass, swing. Is that not the exact same?
The next comment. He's surrounded by guys that can shoot.
So is that the difference?
Like, dude, what do you want to do?
Is that the identity?
If you had guys that could shoot, even tonight, with Ja not being anywhere close to himself, he generated so many open looks. It just got smoked, man. Like, David Roddy and Zaire are just not getting the job done. I love David Roddy. I still believe in David Roddy. Like, dog, what are we doing? Like, yes, if Ja's not on the floor, nobody knows what's going on. There's way too many like 35-foot threes with 16 seconds on the clock. And that goes for Dez too, right? Like, listen, I know Dez has always got the green light, but when you just cut the lead to single digits, got to stop and come back. You can't launch a 35-footer with 18 seconds left. It can't be the shot unless you have just been crazy
cooking,
hot.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it just can't be it. So that's another thing. It's like, if you have guys that just knock down these shots, then even tonight looks a lot different with Ja looking like he's 50% of himself. Yeah. So that's why I'm so hesitant to criticize Taylor. Like, there's criticisms for Taylor. There's criticisms for the players. There's criticisms with the front office. All of them are true. I still believe if he's passing to Luke Kennard instead of David Roddy out on the wing, life looks a lot better. Yeah. And if it's not Luke Kennard out there, it's Brandon Clark cutting to the rim. They don't have threats. You don't have threats. You don't have to respect David Roddy at 3. You don't have to respect Zaire Williams at 3. Like, you really don't have to respect Marcus Smart at 3 a lot of the time. Like, tonight he went 4 for 11. It's one of his better nights.
Yeah.
It's barely, 35%? Something like that. So,
yeah. And that's what I'm talking about. All right. I'm trying to put up comments as you're talking, as they're coming through. That way everybody can see them on the screen.
This is a good criticism.
Honestly, this is what, if I try to rewatch the show sometimes, just to kind of backdoor real quick, try to rewatch the show sometimes. I put up a lot of comments sometimes we don't even speak about, just so people can understand the thinking, or maybe ones that, can contribute to the conversation. And so if I do not actually talk about yours, one, if it is important, like I think John, somebody, sorry about that.
John Stevenson.
Dennis, I'll come back to you real quick about your question. But as Chris says, Jaron and the other guys look so lost when Ja is doing it and just standing around. There's no cutting at all.
Yes.
This is what I'm talking about as well. I see that better on the Clippers side. Much better. But it is the same standing around, though. That's why I want to compare one-on-one in a sense, because I think it's important.
Well, and then I bring it up, and listen, I love Chris. I feel free to pick on him, but I also really like talking basketball with Chris. So I'm doing a lot of this vicariously through the comments tonight. This is where I can get behind, like, hey, what the hell is Taylor Jenkins doing?
Well, he brought, so to his credit and to his maybe negative, whatever, he brought in somebody to be a guy, a guru on offense in a sense. I don't think it's good. I've never liked the offense ever.
Well, dog, cut. Yes, change the offense in. You can't shoot threes, but you keep shooting them. 100%. I'm with it. Get more movement. They've never gotten more movement. It still hasn't happened. Like every once in a while, they'll do a backdoor screen out of timeout. They'll draw something up, but there's no offense other than dribble penetration, kick out for a three, which again, if they had shooters, would work, but they don't. Yeah. And they keep doing the same thing over and over again. So yes, I 100% agree. Like there's no adjustment there. 100% agree. That's a valid criticism of Taylor Jenkins.
Yeah, I agree. I'm gonna look for the stats real quick as we're talking through this about the points in the paint. I think that's gonna be important to kind of look at that because I do think the Grizzlies still do a good job, especially since Josh went back about points in the paint. So I don't want to ruin the sample size of saying, hey, we're 30 games into the season roughly, and so I don't want to because of mainly the what are we now 4-2 since Ja got back. So the 6 games since Ja's returned, I honestly want to make sure that I'm giving credit to maybe them and the way their offense has been, but I've never liked it. I don't think it's fluid at all. I don't think there's no identity of if you're in the game with this guy, which honestly, I get why there isn't because they're playing with a bunch of scrubs at times. This is a team that honestly has never had any good luck this year. There's always somebody different in the lineup. You can't just play 5 players. That's not possible. This isn't backyard ball. This isn't college ball. This isn't high school ball. You can't do that. You have to understand one win isn't that important. This is an 82-game season. I know I'm picking on you again, BJ, but I'm just saying, like, just in general, like, we have to understand that this is a long season. You can't just keep doing that. Oh. I will say that the offense does need to have more fluidity to it. There has to be a reason why you go someplace. I don't know if it's because of the IQ of the team. I honestly think that half the time. I think because some of these guys just look like they're just lost, and I think that's the type of person they are. They've never gotten it, and some of these people have been in this offense for a couple seasons.
Yeah, well, I'm with Chris. You need more people cutting. You need more people in the dunker spot. At the same time, some of these just got to sack up and decide they're going to go get a rebound. Like, I just looked at the rebound numbers, and that's the only thing tonight that's legitimately pissed me off. You got rebounded by 21, man.
Yeah.
That's just you aren't crashing the boards like the other team is. And, like, that was one thing I did notice in game and why I was like, why isn't Vince out there as much as possible? Because he normally rebounds his butt off. He only got 1 tonight, so he wasn't doing it either. But, like, at the end of the day, I understand you don't have the size, but sometimes you just got to have the want to. I mean, there was a time tonight Zubac Santi didn't put a body on him. Generally speaking, they don't have the bodies just put on a guy, but they also got to have the want to do that and have a little bit more dog in them. Like, man, sometimes you got to crash the boards. And the Grizzlies, for some reason, don't crash the boards, even though they shoot like crap. And
Bro, they don't box out. Even on defense. They just don't do any rebounding well at all. And I don't understand that whatsoever. Well, this team has never been a good rebounding team.
It's a fixable thing, though. Yeah. I don't know if it's want to from the players, coaching.
That's it. No, it's want to. 100% it's want to.
But you also, like, you got to just get it. You got to get in there, man. Whatever it is, you got to go crash the boards. Like, you can't just be putting up shots and not crashing the boards. You got rebounded by 21.
Sherman Jones,
freaking gross.
Shout out to you, man. Listen, the best strategy of the night, best so far, honestly, the Clippers, their game plan, just box out. And that's what happened. It's that simple, it seems. It literally is. I do want to say, I want to look at Bismack Biyombo, and I want to look at Xavier Tillman.
Okay.
Half of the reason that the Grizzlies have not been good outside of the injuries and, obviously the bad luck with sickness is because they don't have a true big. They just don't. They don't have a guy who can take and handle a certain, let's say a one-on-one with Zubac and say, hey, I'm going to somehow take him out of the game, or I'm going to nullify him. And honestly, you can't cut Biyombo now. It doesn't make sense. We need players. We're not getting better. And there's nobody out there in free agency that's worth the crap. But I will say that, in all honesty, this team needs a big. I think they'll get a big, but at what point is it too late? And that's why I want to get to that comment in a little bit, because I do think what Dennis was asking, will the Grizzlies make a move? It's obvious we don't have a bench full of quality NBA players. I just don't know when the move can happen. I don't know when the actual move could happen and when it could happen, but we'll see. We're not going to Taiwan.
My guy, Big Die, is always Boogie. I've always wanted Boogie. Everyone keeps telling me I'm an idiot for it, but I'm yet to have anyone give me a good reason.
I don't know if Dwight Howard is better than Biyombo. I don't know.
I don't know. Well, I was going to say he's bilingual, but so is Biyombo, so I don't know.
He definitely – well, almost said something.
I know that they're both bilingual. I don't know. Get Boogie in here.
Boogie is washed, man. Boogie's washed.
So is half our team. That's 22. What are we talking about? Wow. Listen, if they want to compete this year, they got to make a move sooner than later. I will say, again, I think like the past two nights, one, they were late nights, so that made them super not fun. Two, it's just a couple of games that just made you feel like, ugh, after it. But like, if Ja's healthy and you don't smoke layups, I think they win tonight. Like, I don't think they have to have that big to compete night in, night out the regular season. Like, if you really want to make a push, I think you eventually have to make a move. But I just don't see these past two games as indicative of this team with Ja Morant, with Marcus Smart, Luke Kennard. Eventually you'll get Brandon Clark. Now that'll be too late if that's what you're counting on, Brandon Clark coming in. But like, they were 4-0 with Ja before tonight against teams with quality bigs, right? Like the Pelicans are no slouch, right? Even Miles Turner, he's a goober. No slouch. No. Like, I just don't think you have to hit the panic button yet. Now, you got to make a move, right? And the sooner you can make the move, the better, because Biz is giving you nothing. Again, thank you for your service. Really appreciate it. The first couple of games, I was ready to sign you up for MVP for a minute because I was so excited about it. But it's just not giving them. Now, if you want to make a run, yeah, you need to get a center. If you want to be able to make any kind of noise in the playoffs, you need to get a center. At the same time, I'm not willing to make a huge sacrifice for this year because I just don't think there's a move to be made for the Grizzlies unless something really unexpected presents itself that you can make a real playoff championship push. I just don't think it exists. And I said this on the last show. Like, I think that, well, that's my point. So I'll get back to that in a second. That's my point is Jake LaRavia, just will pay you to take him. Take him. 2, Zaire Williams. 3, basically anything else that makes sense to send him. I would give up pieces like maybe even a Kennard or a Brandon Clark for like a real piece though. Not like a, hey, we need one more, so we need a real center to make a run. Like, no, we're going to go bring in a real wing like a Mikal Bridges or a real wing like a Anunoby. That type of move, right? Something like that. But I said this on the last show. I still think that this lineup plus Steven Adams is awesome. Like, can compete with any team. I think you throw Ja, Dez, Jaren, Smart, Adams out there. That team can compete with anybody. Any night, and you're set. And you throw Brandon Clark back in there, all of a sudden the bench is able to keep up with everybody. I just like, the roster is good. The roster's good. The roster's just not there. So it's like, how drastic of a move are you willing to make? How many crazy moves are you willing to make to go on a run that I don't think ends in a championship, no matter what it is this year.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I got a question. I know you've given up on us. I'm kidding. I know you haven't given up yet.
Oh, F off. I was the one keeping you off the ledge, saying 6 games still gave us hope.
Yeah. We do have some slim hope. Let me ask you the question. And, in the chat, if you don't mind, answer just simple, yes or no. I just want easy yes or no question. The Grizzlies have 51 games remaining. Can they go 31-20 the rest of the way?
Yes.
Yes or no? Easy.
Yes.
I agree. I want to know what the chat says.
They have right now. Don't throw Luke Kennard back in there. Don't throw Brandon Clark back in there. They can do that. But that's what I'm saying. Like, you want to go make a move for a Drummond, you don't have to give up much to get him, probably.
No, I don't either.
But that's what I'm saying. If someone's willing to outbid you for somebody, if someone's willing to outbid you for somebody, then let them outbid you. Like, this is not your year if you're the Grizzlies. And listen, you can say I'm giving up. I still think this team can be a lot of fun. They're going to be a lot of fun that we had this season. At the end of the day, you don't have the horses to keep up with the Minnesotas and the Denvers of the world. You just don't. You don't, Daniel. You don't have the size. And the size isn't out there to be had. It's not.
So a couple things. One, as John says, you can't have any more bad luck. Like, the fact that we get Ja back, we're starting to roll, and then we have this stupid illness, the flu is kind of running through.
Right.
That sucks, right? Because it kind of kills your momentum. We're only looking at possibly getting one of the 2 wins, right? So you've set yourself back maybe one game that you were hoping or expecting to grab. Either way,
I would expect them to beat the Clippers.
1-3 on the road trip isn't the worst. I'm sorry, 1-2 on the road trip, 1 out of the 3. 1-2 on the road trip isn't the worst. Let's just be honest. But let's just get back to it. I'm glad everybody does agree. I think if you look at it by the numbers, and this is what I always have to do because it seems doom and gloom right now. But if you look at the numbers, it says if you go 31-20 the rest of the way, you're at 41-41. You're giving yourself a chance to fight at least at the 10th spot potentially. I'm just saying that's at the bare minimum. Let's say you go 35-16. That's a big swing. That's just 4 extra wins. But that number just seems so crazy to go. It could easily happen. The Grizzlies just went 4-2 in the last 6. One of them was without Ja. Just being clear and being honest. But I want to just get back to the whole thing. I think there is a little bright side ahead of us. And I want to go ahead and end the segment and get to segment number 2. But as John said, maybe the whole team is just sick. And that's what we're going to chalk it up to.
I'm sick of it. Pat it up to here. Listen, send those 4 first to Brooklyn again. They're taking it this time.
You think they would? No. I think they need to send more than that to get Mikal Bridges right now. All right, let's get to our second segment. The Grizz Twitter is leading us off as it always does in segment number 2. I have a legit present-day statistical question for you.
Grizz trivia, not Grizz Twitter.
What did I say?
You said Grizz Twitter. It's really late. I completely understand.
Yeah, it is late. All right, so Grizz trivia is leading us off. So we'll be right back. Just stay tuned. Big one out of the Tigers. Let's let them lead off.
Has FAU somersaulted over a lot of other teams as like your most aggravating fan base?
Oh, easily. They just think they are so elite because they made this one run. You won this one fluky ass game where there were 6 or 7 different calls. Everyone were up in arms about, like, what are we talking about? And it's not like a thing where they're like, hey, Memphis, great game. You guys are great competitors. I can't wait to see what the future holds between us. Because if they said that, I would respect them. I don't respect FAU fans. I don't.
Tune in to Tigers Untapped with TJ Willis and Trey Lasley every Wednesday at 3 p.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
All right, we are back. I love them.
Grumpy face Tiger fans, man. Tiger fans always mad about something. Man, they got that big Liberty Bowl win today. I think they had about 20 fans in the.
Shut up. They had more than that. Good win. Good win.
I actually do support the Tigers. It's just really fun to pick on Tigers fans. They get so mad.
Yeah,
all the time. They're mad. It's hilarious.
Big win out of the Tigers tonight. And so I want to celebrate them. Let the Tigers and Tap boys lead us off. Wednesdays at 3, they go live. Not live, but they actually have their show come out. So Wednesdays at 3 o'clock. If you're a Tigers fan, they talk basketball, talk football. Obviously now is going to be going more to the basketball scene. But if you can, do me a favor, hit the like button. We're all here late. I do appreciate you all hanging out with us. Hit the subscribe button over on YouTube. Hit the like and the share on Twitter if you don't mind. But join us each and every game. Will we not be here on New Year's Eve whenever they play the Kings at home? So if you're going to the game, enjoy it, have fun. Should be a good game. A big comeback win from the Kings tonight over Atlanta. And so shout out to the Kings for coming back. Unfortunately, they might be playing better than the Grizzlies right now, but the Grizzlies are coming home, and we know the Groundhouse is going to be rocking. But let's go ahead and get into Grizz trivia. Nathan, I have a question for you. Ja Morant has returned and played in 5 NBA games this season.
4-1.
What is Ja Morant's 3-point shooting percentage this year?
Ooh. He's what, 1, 2. He may have made a third that I didn't know about. What would that be? That'd be 3. Sorry, it's not good. That's like 1 for. Oh God, 14%.
Wow, you're so close. Shout out to Ryan and shout out to BJ Berryhill coming through in the clutch. 12 is shooting a whopping 12% this season
dang.
From 3-point.
Not have been a 9. I should have guessed that because 12. Yeah. Hey, he's still letting it fly though. Hey, he's not lost confidence in Taylor Jenkins' offense. So
man has gone 3 of 25 for the season this year.
Oh, yeah, it's not good.
From deep, he went 0 of 6 tonight. He's going through it. I got a question. Coming back from the suspension, did you have expectations that he would have a better shot, feel more comfortable? We saw a lot of videos of him having looking more comfortable. Did you think he might look a little, and spending the time and actually putting in the effort to try to see if we can get his shot back? Or do you think it's just early season rust?
Never trust the offseason workout videos. I mean, I've seen Ben Simmons shoot 100% from 3 in a pickup session in one of those before. He might shoot 100% if he shot a 3 or played in the NBA. I'm not sure Ben Simmons still plays in the NBA. I think he just has back surgery now. But no, I didn't have any expectations. I think he worked hard. Like I'm not saying he didn't work hard, and it might be. I would expect his shot to be a lot better percentage wise.
Well, I think that's the given.
But I'm not saying just a little. I mean a lot better.
So like at least 20%
total over years. Okay, we're not just a lot better, respectable. There we go. But like part is he has to get his legs back, and then he starts to get his legs back, and then he gets the flu, and then he's playing through the flu. Like it's listen, it's just one of those where the dude's going through it, right? So I expect it'll get better. His confidence will be there. I'm not super worried about it. It sucks right now, but it's one of those where I'm not exactly expecting it to go in, but I'm not just like, oh, that's for sure a miss. Other than tonight, by the time he started shooting the 5th and the 6th and the 7th, I was like, okay, dog, like maybe let's pass it to X in the corner or something.
Yeah. Wow.
I'm just kidding. Never.
Xavier Tillman is shooting a higher percentage than Ja Morant.
Doesn't count. Doesn't count.
As John 17 says, he was shooting 34% from 3 in 21-22. And so, boy, to go back. Going back to coming out of COVID-ish, is an issue. But listen, I wanted to do that. Shout out to Ryan again for that trivia question. I saw that. And I was like, all right, I have to ask that. I was going to do it a bonus because I had another really good one. I'll save that one for our next game. I don't even know what our next game is that we'll be doing. But, yeah, we'll save it for the next game.
That's pretty good. That's entertaining. It's another thing I'm just not reacting to. Despite what I heard, some people are thinking I do actually watch these games.
You do?
The past two, I just am like, I don't care. I don't know what you want me to take away. My main thing tonight was like, I hope everybody knows how ass what's his face is. And I already forgot who it was that officially.
The referee?
Yeah, what's his name? Bill Kennedy.
Bill Kennedy, yeah.
Oscar-worthy actor, Bill Kennedy. Got everybody fooled and I think he's a good ref because he's got some entertaining reviews.
Yeah. As Robert Barnett says, listen, I was the same thing, 100%. Thought he'd be coming back a better shooter. I thought he had it. And maybe he will. Maybe
I was about to say, he might be.
Maybe this is just the early start. Listen, I'll give you a personal life story about me. I played college baseball. Okay. My junior year, I had a really good junior year. Great junior year. My senior year, I started 0 for 25 from the plate. I know that doesn't seem like the craziest thing, but when you're hitting 400 in college, good hitters normally hit 400-ish in college just because you're usually better than, whatever. I was hitting a normal 400 my junior year. Senior year, I started 0 of 25. I thought I was going to cry. It was so bad. And even after the first month and a half, it was still not great. Well, but I came out of it. I ended up hitting like 4, whatever. But it goes to show that, hey, you can have a slow start. Things could be completely off. I went through it myself. I have personal scars from that.
Yeah.
So I know how it is.
He might still be. Another guy who started out slow, maybe last year, Desmond Bain, was really struggling last year when he first started. It happens a lot. And I know a lot of people get worried about Ja's 3-point percentage. Did you know this is the first time Luka, I think, has shot over 34% from 3? Average over 34% from 3. Yeah, he hits all these crazy wild shots. And this is not to take away from Luka. I've been on here saying I think he's atop of my MVP ballot right now. He's been so awesome. But he hit so many crazy shots. Everybody thought he's this amazing 3-point shooter. He shot like 32% or something last year. It was crazy. At least for a while, he was hovering around 32%. And so, but this year he comes back and he's shooting like 39% this year, right? Yeah. So Ja could easily still make an upward trajectory of that. And like De'Aaron Fox is another example. De'Aaron Fox, about this time in his career, this point in his career as the equivalent of where Ja is. Sorry, we're getting close to midnight, so I'm struggling. But
close.
Wasn't hitting a bunch of threes. So for me, it's getting close to midnight. So that could 100% get going. So and James Harden couldn't hit a 3 when he started playing this season, right? Like, it's just one of those things. And Ja's sort of going through it right now between getting his legs back and being sick. So I don't expect him to be a James Harden, Luka Doncic level 3-point shooter. At the same time, he could come back and definitely be a much better shooter than he's been up to his career so far. Just going to take him a minute.
For sure. Well, speaking of De'Aaron Fox, shooting 39.6% on 8.6 3-point attempts overall. Right. So it's been tough for Ja, but obviously we need to stop a guy like De'Aaron Fox for sure coming up. Let's go ahead and get into the Kings preview real quick. We're not going to go ahead and take any breaks tonight. I don't think it's important to. It's already late enough. We're gonna scoot right through the Kings preview. My biggest thing about the Kings, De'Aaron Fox. We were just talking about him. De'Aaron Fox is really good. Sabonis is going to be a good rebounder at the rim. The difference of maybe Zubac and what Sabonis is he's not Sabonis isn't as thick as Zubac is, right? He's not as big. Jaren can play a little bit better against him. I do believe that X and Biyombo can play decently against him. He is more crafty though, and so this is a guy that can get to what he wants to get to, and he's he has very good footwork around the rim. He's he's just an elite NBA player when he's in the paint, and so watching out for him. But also, dude, it's the 3 ball. They shoot a lot of threes. They knock down a lot of threes. If we can somehow guard them in the 3-point line, that'd be great. They shot 45 tonight, 37.8% overall. It was 8 of 16 from Fox. Nobody else really went off but Trey Lyles. And I know Lyles has been a Grizz killer from the past. I know we all remember him. And then Malik Monk went 2 of 5 from deep. But everybody else has an okay night. I just think that we have to stop that, but also mainly try to contain Fox as much as possible.
Well, the good news is, like, the Grizz don't have to have as much effort in the paint defensively against them, right? Like, you have to close out on the perimeter. But what's nice is those guys, you got De'Aaron Fox, who's developed a really good mid-range game. At the same time, listen, I can't blame him. Like, I don't feel confident in that. Like, you can go and guard them on the perimeter, close out, and then just have somebody that's going to be able to provide protection at the rim, a la Jaren, right? The problem is the Grizzlies' defensive scheme is to overhelp and let guys shoot threes. And so if you do that, you're shafted. The only other good part for the Grizz, and the only reason that I have any kind of glimmer of hope, to be honest, because I think this Kings team will likely light up Memphis on this game, is that Memphis needs to and can live in the paint against that team. Like, there's zero reason Jaren, Ja, does, all of them can't go get in the paint.
Yeah.
Like, there's just no reason. So if you dominate the paint and then just hope that they will shoot like 50% from three, that game can go well for you. The problem is Grizzlies defense plus Kings talent, they could shoot 55-60% from three. So we'll see what happens. I'll be paying attention, but not necessarily locked into the game. We might have some New Year's events. We'll see how it goes. I'm going to try and watch the game where I'm going to be, but I have a feeling I'm going to get in trouble for that.
Definitely will. And so after that, we will be gone. Obviously, the Kings game, and so we will not have a show that night unless something just crazy happens. I don't know what our plans are, honestly. We usually kind of keep it very chill, especially with kiddos. But we will be here for sure on the 2nd of January. At 7 o'clock is the game tip. So it'd be like your normal 9:30 local time here is coming to you live after that. And so that will be a good time. We need to see Wemby again, potentially. And so we'll have a good chance to play the Spurs and Popovich.
And I found this just to make everybody feel better. I'm just going to list off 3-point percentages up to this year, entire careers. Luka, 32.7, 31.6, 35, 35.3, 34.2. This year, a lot better, 38.4. But if you get into like De'Aaron Fox, who's now known to be able to hit those shots, it was 30, 37, 29, 32, 29, 32, 39.6. So that jump can be made, right? Yeah. But like even last year, he only shot 32% when everybody was saying he was a much better three-point shooter. So things can turn around for Ja, 100%.
Yeah.
29%. It's brutal.
All right. As D'Angelo Halo says, Happy New Year's all the way from Australia.
Hey, Happy New Year's.
So Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year to everybody else. Speaking of Happy New Year, we always do something different in my family that others don't exactly do. And so I'm going to put you on the spot, Nate, but also in the comments, if you don't mind, play along with me. I'd appreciate it. What we do, and my wife started this for whatever reason, I don't know when, but she started it and we kind of play along, and I haven't really thought about it until right now. But she makes us have a word or a short phrase of what we want to carry with us through the year, if that makes sense. So it could be, humility. It could be, I don't know what, just a word like that, if that makes sense. And so I'll give you a second to kind of think about it, because I was thinking about it and coming up with it. But just a word. I don't need a New Year's resolution, but a word that I'm going to give. If you want to give yours in the chat, feel free. But mine is going to be a simple phrase of go for it. I and myself have always just kind of, went to my strengths. And so this year I'm going to try to go for it and be a little bit more aggressive in some areas and push myself to maybe take on things. And so just like this show, we have not actually been able to obtain sponsorships this year for whatever reasons, we had them, and then we decided to go away from them for this year. We thought we would go a different direction. Well, I'm going to go for it in that area, but also many other areas. I'm just going to go for it. I think it's going to be a way to push myself to be a little bit more aggressive in life, but honestly, get the most out of it. And so that's going to be my phrase. It's simply go for it. So Nate, what you got, man? Not be on mute. All right, mute. We got him.
Oh, sorry. I was on mute. So I'm not going to make this it, but just the first thing that popped in my head was get effed, mate. That's the first thing that popped in my head just because of the human being I am. That's not what it actually is. Sorry, I had to say, since it's literally the first thing that popped in my head in a Steven Adams accent. So I don't know what that means about my current mental state at midnight. But I think what it actually is going to be is not the condiment, but relish. Like to relish everything that's going on. And so, hey, shout out to BJ. I love this shirt. It has got some nasty workout pit stain. So, but relish and just like soak in everything that's going on. And to get a lot deeper than we normally do on this show. There was a point in my life where I was struggling with some really bad mental health stuff, was in a really, really bad spot. Shout out to Alex Simpson and Jake Kirby. They will never listen to this show, but those two guys saved my life. But it was a really hard time. But what I always have appreciated since then was I was able to really, once I got to the backside of that, like every day, I loved it. And there's a summer that I was like, this is the best summer of my life, hands down. And I've always been really thankful that I was able to appreciate that while I was in it. You know, there's so many things that you look back on and it's like college, it's like, man, I loved college, but it flew by, right? And it's kind of like, man, I didn't even know how much I loved it. And there was like a 6-month period in my life where I was like, man, I love every second of this. And I loved it while I was in it. And for us, you know, I've got new job going really, really well, having a lot of fun with the show, got first kid on the way. So there's a lot of crazy stuff happening.
I don't think that's known.
Yeah, we got our first kid on the way. My wife officially posted on Instagram, which means I'm allowed to say it anywhere I want to at this point. But I think in sort of the hustle and bustle of everything that's going on, I've sort of lost that, right? I'm always like, okay, gotta do this, gotta do that, going from one thing to the other, and not gotten to the point where, hey, I just like enjoy everything that's going on. So there's nothing quite like loving every moment that you're in and being able to do it while you're there. So looking forward to hopefully do that. So that's a really good idea, Daniel. I like that a lot. I appreciate you throwing that out there.
Yeah, man. As you know, we rarely plan this show. I don't know if people know that or not. My wife always talks about all the time and effort I have to put into doing the show. Listen, I'm telling you, when I say we go off the cuff, 90% of the time, that's probably very true. But I do want to say from me, I know I've told you personally, I've known for a while, but I think from everybody else, I think from our friends here that are here, man, it's congrats. Having a kid is awesome. I have 2.
Thank you.
But man, it's really cool to have a kid, become a dad. Yeah. So I think 2024 is going to be awesome. I don't, we try to get too emotional on this show for sure. We try to keep it very light. But I do think that it is something that I like to share. I like to kind of dig in a little bit deep.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Also Pit Stain Nate, putting in that work.
Unfit for television. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. That's it. I got the hat.
Papa Bear. I like
Papa Bear hat. We got one for my dad too. It's super adorable.
Wow. All right. Well, that's all we got today. If you do have a something you want to put in, even after the show's off and you're rehearing this or rewatching this, go ahead and throw yours in there. I'm telling you, the more good that we can kind of promote in the world, with all the negativity, it's always good to put out a little bit of positive energy. It's 1:00 in the morning where I am, and most of you are as well. And so it is going to be a little bit late. But if hopefully everybody is hearing this and seeing this, happy New Year for you and your family and your friends. And I hope everybody kind of just takes the year by the horn. And my family, we've had a very rough 2023. There's stuff that, I don't want to talk about, but it was a rough 23. This year is going to be better. I hope everybody understands that. It's a fresh outlook, fresh look on the season, the year, everything that you're seeing is very good. If you do for some reason like this hat, I saw BJ talking about, I don't know if you're talking about mine or Nate's. If you do like this hat, hit me up in the DMs ever at Grizz 901 podcast to be sure to share a little bit of info with you. But that's all we have. Check out our merch over at bluffcitymerch.com. Is it co or com? Bluffcitymerch.com?
Dude, you're asking the wrong guy.
That is true. All right, bluffcitymerch.com. I'm almost certain. Go check out the merch over there. We're trying to grow our Grizz 901 stuff there. If you're looking for more Grizz 901 stuff, I think you can find it over at Grizz 901 on our Twitter page, at Grizz 901 podcast. We have our own stuff somewhere else until that we can completely grow up at Bluff City Merch. We're going to keep our site over there as well. But if anybody has any questions about merch or anything, please hit me up. I'm going to try to do some new designs I have in mind that I think the Grizz and the 901 kind of go together in a sense. And it doesn't have to be about the podcast. I just think that the stuff we could do together to make it look really cool would be fun. But let's have a great year. Let's have an awesome season. We won't be here, but we'll be cheering everybody on the Grizzlies game on the Kings. We'll be back here for the Spurs. Until then, be nice and tell your friends.